Hey everyone, welcome to Radiating Love with Roni Lipstein on this glorious day in June 15th actually, which is 6, which is nice. 6 plus 7 is 13 is 4. Oh, here I go with the numbers. So, I've just got my sage burning here and it went out a little bit, so just going to do a little smudge of cleansing, healing, blissing, and love unto all for our show today. So thank you all so very much for coming and for joining me here. It is always my most blissful pleasure to be able to join you here and to do this show and to provide some assistance, some clarity, some guidance, a little light along our pathway from fear consciousness to love consciousness. And that's really what Radiating Love and Being Love TV is all about. It's here to assist all of we in this transition that we are all experiencing, whether consciously or otherwise, in this now. So regarding today's show and the subject matter for the show, we're going to be discussing manifesting mantras and some meditations, at least one. And essentially, today's show is going to provide some tools, some practical tools that we can make use of in our day-to-day lives with respect to manifesting our dreams actualized. We hear a lot about the law of attraction, about manifestation, and yet a lot of people have a lot of problems, a lot of difficulties with it, and have experienced a lot of aggravation, irritation, frustration regarding a lot of the things that is out there for us to learn and utilize in this transitioning period towards our ability to manifest with comfort, ease, and joy in accordance to our authentic desires. So, before we get into any mantras or meditation, it's important for us to take a moment and shine a little clarity into the situation regarding manifestations, regarding the law of attraction, and how we can actually assist ourselves in this process. Now, I guess I can say it as a kind of a disclaimer, if you will, right at the beginning of our show. You may hear things today that you think are absolutely wackadoodle, off-the-wall crazy. And to the consciousness that we have been taught to operate by, the paradigm, the thought construct that we have been operating under for thousands upon thousands of years, it is crazy. So much so that some people actually feel like they're losing their mind, as the quote goes, when first stepping into the practice of manifesting and the law of attraction. And the reason that people feel that they might be losing their mind, which in fact to some degree is really good, and that what we are going to be discussing here today is crazy, is because what we have been taught again, for thousands upon thousands of years, is actually what's crazy and insane. And we kind of lost our minds thousands upon thousands of years ago. So what we're doing now, and we hear a lot about, welcoming the divine feminine, the 2012 prophecies regarding the end of the world as it was, welcoming in a new paradigm, a new consciousness, transcending, ascending, expanding, the grand cycle coming to a close, so on and so forth, are all related, believe it or not, to this way, this paradigm of thinking, of being, this perspective, if you will, of consciousness. So, yes, it's a little thing, right? One would think at the end of the world, I mean, there's been so much propaganda regarding the world blowing up, mass Armageddons, destructions, and apocalypses, so on and so forth. But the reality is that it's not going to be a third world or fourth world war. It's not going to be some Armageddon apocalyptic catastrophe. All that's happening, which we can see evidence of and have seen evidence of over the last several years, is a shift in how we think, a shift in consciousness. And I'll give you a really quick example, which I think will assist in understanding how such a small little thing, at least as far as how we perceive it to be right now, can be such a huge thing. Sorry, I'm just going to light up some more of that sage. So, there was a time not very long ago, and I can give you a couple of examples so that there will be a firmer understanding of what we're discussing here today. It wasn't too long ago that we believed, we being the people of this planet Earth, that our planet Earth was flat. There was, if you went and you sailed the ocean blue, you would fall off the edge into oblivion. And hence why Christopher Columbus's voyage was so spectacular and miraculous and magnificent for his time in the 1400s, because they believed that the earth was flat and that he was going to fall off the face of the earth into oblivion. And when he came back, having traveled to faraway places as far as China, and not only surviving, but coming back with all of this wonderful stuff from a land where there was actual people living and sustaining, it was miraculous, because they never thought that it was possible, let alone that there was actually other people out there who were thriving, and that you can go and come back again. Oh my goodness. And this change in thought, this perspective alteration, changed how we live and survive in our world today. We now communicate with each other globally. We trade with one another, support one another globally. We are connected in consciousness to one another. And that has made all the difference in the world to how we live our lives, to the things that we have in our lives. Silks and teas and China, not the country, the the plates, were not things that they had in Spain, for example, before Christopher's voyage. But he came back with all of these things, and then trades were going on, and so things were being shared, and so things that we didn't have before we do now. Just imagine what we would do if we didn't know about places in the Middle East, for those of us who are in North America, for example. We would have no oil, not that we need it, but anyways, we would have no oil to fuel our cars because we don't have mass amounts of oil resources here in Canada. At the same time, or North America, at the same time, there are many areas in the world that don't have the mass resources of water that we have here that we share with them there. So it's a change in how we think that really has an enormous effect in how we actually live our lives. And this change that we're undergoing right now in relation to 2012, transcendence, and manifestation is a change in how we think. And as crazy as everybody thought that Christopher Columbus was to set out and voyage on the ocean into oblivion, is as crazy as some people feel that which we will be discussing here today is, until, as we all now today take for granted that the earth is round, shall we one day take for granted that which we are discussing today. And those who will be taking it for granted will look back on us the same way we look back on those who thought the earth was flat and go, really? You really thought that? I mean, how did you even think that? How did you believe that? And yet, we've been living like this for thousands upon thousands of years. So what is it that I'm talking about with all of this crazy insanity talk that I'm speaking to? So, what has been passed down to us over the ages and through our own personal lineage, our own ancestral lines. We haven't had to go and get somebody from the outside to teach us these things because they were so well taught to the initiating bodies that parents passed it on to their children, to the point that today we pass things on to our children unknowing that we're doing so because the paradigm is so well inbred into our consciousness currently. And that which has been passed down is fear. It's a fear-based consciousness. It's a consciousness that is very, very much attached, very integrated, interwoven with fear. It's almost as though we don't feel, I think Ramdas had said it in an eloquent way, which I'm going to paraphrase, I'm quite sure not so eloquently, but it's almost as though we don't feel alive if we're not feeling the tension and anxiety of fear with respect to life. It's almost like if we actually allowed ourselves to relax and to come from a perspective of trust and calmness and bliss, that we don't feel that we would be really living, really getting the out of life, the joy, the bliss, the passion. And so there's like this misinformed connotation that if we're not feeling that tension, then somehow life is just not quite as exciting and meaningful and full. And that is a paradigm that we have been taught, and that is incorrect. That is the paradigm of craziness that we are shifting out of. That which we are shifting into is a paradigm of love. It's a paradigm that is based in trust. It's based in faith. It's based in trust and faith and belief because of the knowing. As much as we think that we know that we need to be worried about X, Y, and Z in order for it to happen, well, love is based upon a knowing that in trusting and believing and having faith, that that which we are putting our trust, belief, and faith within shall manifest. It is trust, belief, faith, and knowing that is based in the realization of our empowered state of being. What we believe in is what we wind up manifesting. And people think that that's also a bit crazy, but look at our lives today. We believe that it's okay to go to war. And so people die at the hands of other people who may otherwise sit down and have a meal together. Because it's a paradigm, it's a thought process, a consciousness that we believe in. And so again, we manifest it physically. As with my example that I started off with today. Recognize how powerful our thoughts are with respect to how our actual lives are affected. The experiences that we have, the circumstances that are drawn to us, start with a thought. So if we start utilizing our thoughts from a paradigm of love as opposed to one of fear, the results in our physically manifest surroundings will reflect those of love instead of fear. It's really not as crazy as it may sound, because if you can see how our thoughts based in fear have manifested the lives that we've been living to date, which is that we are working harder and harder, more and more as the years go by, and receiving less and less and less, then you can see actualized, physically manifest examples of what our thoughts thus far have created. And so the only difference to manifesting that which we would like versus what we do not want is to be engaging within thoughts that are based in love. It's really that simple. And it really does begin with how we are thinking, not what we are doing. And let me explain that as well, okay? So, for example, if you have a goal in mind, let's say losing weight, and you are wanting to lose weight, and so you start to take actions towards losing weight, and what you do is you decide that you're going to start a new exercise routine, and you're going to change your eating habits to incorporate healthier eating. And so you do this and you get going and you're excited because you're starting something new, and you're motivated because the results are that you're going to get towards your goal, which is losing the weight that you want to lose. And a week goes by and you're not really seeing any changes and you're feeling a little tired. You're eating less, you're exercising more, energy in and out are different from what they were before. And you know, you're like, okay, it's only been a week, so you're going to give it another week and see how things are going. And so you go for another week. And while you're doing this, you wake up every morning and you go to the mirror and you look at the mirror and you don't see any changes. And all that you're thinking is, I'm doing all of this work, I'm putting in all of this effort, and nothing is happening. This sucks. And so when you get up the next day or the next week, you're not quite as motivated to exercise with quite the same stamina as you did before at the beginning of this objective set into motion. Another few days go by, and again, you're not seeing the changes that you want to see. And you're looking in the mirror and all you're thinking is, I am doing so much and I'm getting nothing out of this, and why am I killing myself, and why am I starving myself, and this is ridiculous, forget it. And then you go on a raid into your fridge and you consume gallon loads of fat and sugar and calories and just stuff yourself galore, and you wind up sick as a dog for a few nights afterwards because of what you've done. If, when you looked in the mirror at your body while you were doing your exercise and your eating habit changes, and you didn't see the results that you were looking for, and instead of saying, this sucks and I'm not seeing any results, said, they're coming, I'm going to see the results. I may not see it right now, but it's happening. Then you would have felt motivated to do more. If you looked in the mirror and you said, okay, I'm not seeing the results I want, maybe a little bit more effort on my part. Maybe I'll add in an extra set of weightlifting, or maybe I will add some fiber to my diet, or maybe I will speak to somebody who is an expert in the field. You would be assisting yourself towards your goal as opposed to getting in the way of your goal. But it starts with how we're thinking. It starts with which side of the spectrum are we choosing to come from. Fear, which is depleting, demeaning, belittling, unmotivating, or love, which is uplifting, assisting, inspiring, and enlightening. So, I want you to think now, as we're getting closer into our mantras and meditation, about your body and your beingness. And I want you to think about your body as you would our universe. And I'll explain what I'm speaking to here. Our universe is made up of millions upon millions of little individual beams of light energy, from each of us to the stars in the sky, the planets, the cosmos. It's all different individuated aspects of the whole universe. Our bodies, and they're all living, right? They're all life form, energy, consciousness. Our body is made up of approximately, and depends who you speak to, some say 50, some say 80, some say 100. Let's go with 100. Why not? 100 trillion. Oh, did I miss that out, by the way? Yes. 50, 80, or 100 trillion cells. Individual cells. And each one of those cells is a living entity unto itself. Okay? So, imagine that you are the universe, and you have 100 trillion individual cells inside of you, and each one has a consciousness. Each one is affected by your thinking. Each one. So, for example, and I'm talking about all your cells, from your neurons in your brain, which are thinking cells, which, by the way, they have found that there are even more neuron type cells in the heart than in the brain, to your liver cells, your blood cells, all affected by what you, the universe in this case, are choosing to think. So imagine, going back to our example of wanting to lose weight, you're going in the mirror and you're telling yourself, as you're looking in the mirror, this is not working, and this sucks, and my body is disgusting, and I can't stand myself. What those little itty bitty tiny little individual cells inside of you are hearing Imagine if there was, the universe had a voice and you could hear it and it was saying to you, "Oh, I just can't stand all of this crap that's inside of me," of which you are inside the universe, right? So you would be part of the crap that the universe is complaining about. How would you feel about yourself? How motivated would you be to do what you are here to do? Each one of your cells is a little you, okay? It's like you to the universe, your cells to you. All right, analogy, we're on the same page. So when you're looking in the mirror, your cells that are responsible for metabolizing your food are like, you know what? If she or he are thinking that we suck so much, I'm taking a vacation. Like, thank you, but no thank you. And how do you think your cells that are responsible for your ATP system or for creating your muscles and rebuilding them are going to feel when you're looking at your body and you're going, all this exercise, and what are you doing? You're doing nothing. You suck. Really? Taking a vacation. Good luck without me, honey. So it's important to recognize that we set the tone for the rest of the cells within our body, which respond to us and therefore assist us in producing whatever it is that we are thinking. Whatever message that we're sending is how the cells are going to respond. They're going to respond in accordance to our messages. So now we come to an interesting part in the show, which is where things might get a little bit more wackadoodle and crazy for some. So I'm going to light some sage to prepare us for a little more opening acceptance as we delve here into the insanity of truth and authenticity. When we look around our lives and we see things in our lives that aren't what we want them to be, and we hear all of these experts talk about the law of attraction and manifestations, and we sit down and we, with all of our heart and soul, put our energy into all of these positive affirmations, and I am, da 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 da, and I do, la 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 la, and I feel, blah 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 blah, and we don't see anything changing. And then we start to doubt, the same way like when we went to the mirror and we're like, what is going on? I'm doing all this work and nothing's happening. Forget it. There's a saying that, how does it go? Just at the moment that you are ready to give up is the moment where success is waiting for you. It's choosing not to question what is not and to have trust and faith in those very moments that you're not seeing the results of all of your inputs, your energy, your focus, your work, your co-creative abilities, that you allow for them to begin to manifest in actualized physical experience. So for example, let's say you've been having money issues. Another popular one, right? And you're doing all this creative manifesting work towards assisting yourself with bringing money into your life. And you're not seeing it. The next month comes, the rent is due, and you're not really sure where you're going to get the money for it. Bills are piling up and you need to pay them. But you've been doing all of this focusing and meditating to get you in line with the vibration of abundance, and you're not seeing it. It is right there where you can go this way into fear, into what is comfortable for us, what we are used to by now, worrying. The earth is flat. Or patience, trust, faith that what you have been putting out is being heard, is being received, and will be returned. Right there. It's one way or the other. And it's that very, very small shift, one way or the other, that will make a difference as to what actually manifests in your life, what is brought into your life. And again, you might feel a little bit crazy because you're looking around and you're not seeing what you're expecting to see. But it's kind of like the flat earth thingy, but a better example, which I can give to you as a personal fitness trainer and nutritional consultant, in addition to the life coaching, holistic life coaching, enlightenment guidance I provide, which is why it's holistic, because I do the fitness and the nutrition. I can tell you from experience working with many clients that oftentimes when someone is losing weight, it's not something that you see gradually and like you go into the mirror and you're like, oh yeah, I'm really seeing things happening. It can be a while before you see something happening, and then all of a sudden you go to sleep one night and you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm things are happening. Not only that, because our bodies are just wacko like that. So, you know, that's just how it happens sometimes. It's the same thing with gaining weight. You know, you see somebody and they're eating, and they're like, wow, you don't gain any weight. And then all of a sudden, the next time you see them, and they're like 50 pounds heavier. And it might just be a couple of weeks later because it catches up, right? It's the same thing with losing it. It catches up. The other thing also is our perception. When we're losing weight, unless we have another one of us standing right next to us from before we began, we might not be seeing properly, perceiving from the right side of that little balance there, the changes that are actually happening in our bodies. So when somebody is losing weight, for example, some people, we all lose weight in different ways, right? So somebody might lose weight in their waist first, and so the waist starts to come in, but they still have their tummy. Except that now that the waist has come in a little bit, the tummy seems to be sticking out a little bit more than it did before, when in fact it's not. It's just that because we've come in at the waist a little more, the tummy is grabbing our mind's attention, our eyes focus, and we're like, all of a sudden the person's looking, and instead of recognizing, hey, my waist is going in, hey, this is working, they're like looking at their tummy saying, my stomach is getting bigger, this isn't working, I'm gaining weight. But they're not. They're actually losing. And the tummy, if they give themselves that extra 1, 2, 3 weeks, will also start to dissolve, dissipate, or go down. It's the same thing with anything that we are seeking to manifest. We can be doing all of this work towards something, and we might not see physically what it is that we are seeking to create, when all that's required in order to start seeing it, is a little shift of perspective, a little change of view, a different story to feed to our 100 trillion little we's that are waiting to be embraced in love instead of anger and hate and disdain. So, let's take a moment now and connect with our inner universe, with our little I's, little me's, little we's, who always, just like all of us, are waiting, wanting, giving love, thrive on love, and have a little party, festival, celebration of love, gratitude within, for self, and get this manifesting magnificence going. All right? So I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath, and if you can breathe in through and out of your nose, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, if you prefer to use your mouth, that's fine as well. And sitting up with a straight back, breathing in deeply. And when you breathe in deeply, that means that you're going to send that air all the way through your whole body. So you want to feel your whole chest and tummy expand and push the air down to your toes. And then exhale. You want everything to contract. The tummy goes all the way in, the chest, and expel all of that air. You're going to inhale again, and this time you're going to inhale love. Okay, so you're inhaling with the thought of love, and that love is being sent to your 100 trillion cells. So here we go, inhaling love, and exhaling gratitude. Inhaling love, and exhaling gratitude. Now I want you to think about whatever it is, and there might be many things, so just choose the one that's bugging you the most right now. And then you can do this with the other ones after. Or we'll be here all day. Well, at least for some people. We are transcending. Sooner, we wouldn't be here for longer than a second. So whether it's that you don't feel successful at work, professionally, personally, you don't feel attractive, you are wanting to be in a relationship but you haven't been and you don't think you'll ever be able to be in one, you have issues with your body image, eating, fitness, feelings of being a failure, not measuring up, not having enough, not doing well enough, not doing good enough, whatever it might be. I want you to think about that right now, about those fearful feelings, about those negative feelings that you have been speaking to yourself in your quiet mind tape in your head that you've been feeding to your 100 trillion cells. And I want you to now, again, close your eyes, take a deep breath of love, and send that love to that fearful thought. And exhale gratitude to that fearful thought. Again, love and gratitude. Does that sound a little crazy? I know, right? Like, did she just ask me to send gratitude to my fear? Yes, I did. Okay, why? Because our fears are not horrible things. Our fears are our way of showing us where we're not being loved. So they're actually just signals telling us where we aren't looking on the right side of that very small little change, that choice to be fear or to be love. Which way do we want to go? Right? So, whatever fear it is, I'm not successful enough, I don't have enough money, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, blah, 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 blah. We're going to send love to that thought, and we're going to exhale gratitude. And now to that very thought, we are going to choose a mantra that allows for us to come from a positive perspective. So for example, coming back to our physical example that we gave at the beginning, wanting to lose weight, looking at the body and seeing that we're not losing it, we are now going to change our fear-based mantra of "you suck," you're not doing anything I want you to do, to "what a wonderful body I am blessed to have." If it's money that you're having issues with, you're going to change from "you're not making enough" to "what a wonderful money magnet you are." So essentially, what you're doing with your mantra is a 360-degree flip, which again may feel like you're crazy, but what we really are doing here is assisting our minds to reprogram into a positive light. And when we do that, when we change our thoughts, we will change our behavior, and we will change what happens in our physically manifest environment. Because our thoughts provide inspiration to us to take action. What action we take is based upon the thoughts that we have. Now, for some people it might be difficult to find a positive thought when they're looking at a situation and all they're seeing is the negative. So you have to look for the positive. You really do. You have to try to find in the environment in your life, with respect to the very specific thing that is bugging you, something positive. So with respect to wanting to lose weight and not seeing the weight coming off, you would choose to focus on the fact that you have a body to begin with. That change is the one thing that you are guaranteed life will provide, and that with your direction, that change will be positive. And that your body, this beautiful vessel that you have been gifted, is your partner in this voyage. And that together you will be manifesting that which you desire. In relation to money, and of course variations are infinite on what we can do. And for those who are having a difficult time finding ways of switching the thinking, that's why people like me exist. I offer one-on-one journeys to assist individuals with their specific life circumstance issues, where their paradigm of fear consciousness is getting in the way of their manifestations, and assisting in getting into love consciousness. I call myself an enlightenment guide light because I shine a light on your pathway where you may see where you're being fear and where you may be love, and how we can do that. So I'm giving examples, but there are an infinite number of examples from which I may choose from, and an infinite number of love-based consciousness paradigms that you can also choose. With respect to money, for example, if you are feeling like a failure because you're not making X number of dollars, ask yourself where that came from, that you believe that you need to make this amount of money in order to be equated as a success. Question your definition of that which is success, and look for examples of success in your life. whether related to money or not. And the point is to shift yourself from feeling like a failure to feeling successful, even if it's not in relation to this exact same thing. So if, for example, you're wanting to make more money and you're feeling that you're not successful in so doing, but you're a great parent, then what you want to do when your mind is saying you're a failure, look, you have no money, is turn around and say, really? Look how successful I am as a parent. Look how capable I am at making exceptionally brilliant decisions. And do you see how you can bridge that to being successful professionally? Keep in mind our 100 trillion cells, all of them have been conditioned by fear. So we have voices in our head that are telling us how horrible we are because that's what we've been feeding ourselves, as well as that which is in the all has been feeding to us. So you want to start somewhere that's positive. It will lead you to the rest of your life. It's a cascade or a snowball effect. So if you're not feeling successful with respect to wealth, seek out in your life where you are wealthy, whether that be in family, in friends, in motivation, tenacity, perseverance, intelligence, ability, so that when the thoughts that you aren't arise, you can show yourself and speak to your 100 trillion cells and let them know that you are. When we so do, we kind of start a little party happening inside of us, and our cells start to say, oh, really? We are? We're successful. Okay, what can we think of that we can do to be more successful? And then you all of a sudden wind up getting all of these phenomenal thoughts. This inspiration comes to you to do things that you would have never thought before because you were too upset with yourself to be thinking about anything outside of how lousy you are. So some mantras that we can utilize to assist ourselves. And these are mantras, again, you can play around with them. You don't have to use these specifically. And you can say them in the morning, throughout your day, at night. You can write them on a piece of paper so that you can see them. And create, again, your own. It's nice when you get creative with your mantras, because the more time that you spend assisting yourself, the more assistance you will receive, and the more effect that you will see physically manifest. So a couple of mantras that we can use, for example, are, I am a divine being of empowered manifesting light. What I focus on and the thoughts that I choose to entertain today shall be manifest, physically actualized in my tomorrow. I am the motivating factor, the actualizing manifester of my life, and I choose to manifest through love. I release myself and all of my 100 trillion cells of any and all fears that have kept me from manifesting my dreams, and now embody in comfort, ease, and joy the consciousness of love. I am love. I embody love. I embrace love. I radiate love. I receive love. All that I desire, all that I require, is provided to me and taken care of for me through my choice to be coming from a perspective of love consciousness. In following my bliss, I receive, physically manifest my highest happiness actualized in our eternal now. My thoughts do make a difference. I am a co-creator. That which I experience in life begins with that which I experience within. So play around with those. There's a whole bunch more, and let me just put up, let's see if I can, we've got Soul's Talking Brain blog, and I'll put up our other blog, Fulfilled Destiny, in a few moments. You want to write down this address, and then you can go and visit the blog, as well, of course, as all of our other shows here on Being Love TV, wink, wink, to get more insight into various mantras, affirmations that you can be using. And keep in mind what I said a little while ago, when you're doing all of this work, all of this creativity towards what it is you're wanting, and you're not seeing it, and you're on that tipping scale of going one way into doubt or the other way into trust, and you're standing right on that edge, right? The bills need to be paid, you need to fit into the dress, so on and so forth. Right when you are standing right there, when you're ready to give up, is exactly when you need to choose to trust. As crazy as it makes you feel. Because choosing doubt will manifest what you're doubting. And choosing trust will manifest what you're trusting. It works either way. Either way. We don't see, when we're doubting if we're going to get the money to pay the rent, for example, we don't see whether or not the money is coming. We're just doubting that it will. When we're trusting that the money is going to come, we don't see that the money is coming. We just trust that it will. And another note that I want to impart is that though we may have visions with respect to how we think things might happen, for example, we trust the money's going to come, and for us the best way for that to happen is that, we get our dream job, and instead we wind up winning the lottery. It's important to keep your eyes open and look for the good, because it doesn't always come packaged the way we think it should, it would, or it could, because there are an infinite number of ways that it can. So one of the ways that we help ourselves shift from the negative paradigm of consciousness into the love paradigm is that we choose to look for it. I know, it's so simple, it seems so ridiculously crazy, but that's how we do it. Because we're talking about our thoughts here, which are magnificent manifesting creations, creators, which is us, because they're directed by us. Where are you choosing to put your focus? So, you want to look for the positive. You want to look for the love that is happening. So, for example, if you're wanting the money and you're not sure, and is it or isn't it, look around your world for examples of your wealth and reinforce within you all that you have been able to do to date, and be in a state of open embrace of the love providing. Recognize how much power that you wield as a being of light in how you direct your light. Is it tense and angry and fearful, or is it relaxed and blissful and calm? Because it makes a difference. Are you putting up a gateway to things coming in, or are you opening up to things coming in that you ain't really wanting? Or are you opening up to things that you're really wanting and relaxed because you know that they're coming? Language, you know, we use different terms for these concepts that we're discussing, which can get a little bit confusing at times. But if you try and keep it as simple as possible when you're thinking about this, it'll make it easier for you. And again, at the beginning, I think I had mentioned we've been doing this. It's been passed on. It's been passed on for thousands upon thousands of years. It's passed on from our parents, our grandparents, their parents, so on and so forth. Thousands of years. So if you find when you're standing on that tightrope of insanity that you're leaning towards the fear, if you find when you're looking in the mirror you're getting ready to get pissed at yourself, if you find when it's coming time for bills that you're getting worried about the bills instead of being grateful that you're in a position that you actually have bills. There are people in this world that they don't have bills, and they don't have them because they're living in some shack, or they don't even have a shack to be living in because they can't afford them. Don't get upset with yourself for falling a little bit on that fear side. Just bring yourself back. Recognize the fear as an opportunity to love yourself and bring yourself back. So if you're having a fearful thought and you're like, oh, you know, I'm not losing, and whoa, all right, honey, let's go, sweetheart. Of course you're losing. Hello, you don't see it, but you will tomorrow. Let's go. Let's get on that treadmill. Let's move. Let's eat some healthy food. It's very fast, little flip of the mind switch, but it makes a huge difference. So if you find that you are leaning in the fear side, just kind of straighten yourself up and start leaning to the love side. Okay? Persistence, dedication, commitment, perseverance. These things, these words are necessary in this transition that we are going through right now. We are shifting a paradigm of consciousness that we have been living under for thousands upon thousands of years. And it is getting a lot easier because there's a lot more people that are speaking about it. It was not more than 6 years ago, nobody knew what the law of attraction was. It was not more than 10 years ago that people were not, and when I speak to people, I'm talking about the masses, the majority of us. We're not talking about consciousness. That was something that was reserved for psychologists and psychiatrists. It's a day-to-day language now. That's an example of the shift. So we are getting support from the external right now because more and more of us are doing what is required in the internal. The same way that when we all discovered that the earth was round, it wasn't discovered by everybody all at once. It was discovered by a few, and then it trickled and it trickled. And some people thought it was an urban tale. Some people thought it was a myth. But little by little, more and more, people learned more things. And more people started venturing off into the ocean blue and not falling off the side. And there were more examples of people succeeding because they were trusting that the earth was in fact round. And so as more and more of us start trusting in our empowered state of being and showing by trusting, that by being the example that it actually is true, it is how we operate, more and more will start to believe. and more will start to do. And it will become easier and easier. And that which we today call divine, that which today we call the metaphysical, the ethereal, the unseen, will be as circumstantial as the worry that we take for granted today. We won't see it as something unseen that we're bringing into manifested physical reality, which is what we do with our fears, by the way. We'll see it as how we are. It's just life. Nothing divine about it. And of course, unless you want to choose to see just how divine we are. Again, the eyes that you're looking through, the perception, perspective from which you're coming from, makes all the difference in the world. It's a choice. Look for it and you will find it. And it will grow and expand. And the more that you do, the easier it becomes. And as you're doing it, you are being an example to others, and therefore exponentially expanding this shift of love consciousness. All right. Let us take a moment to do a little meditation now before we go on our merry ways and positively affect all those with whom we come into contact today and every day, always. If you have any music that you like, candles, scents, aromatherapy that you would like to utilize to assist you to get into a place of calm relaxation and focused consciousness, do that now. You want to sit with your back straight because we are in attention, we are being conscious. And we want to open the diaphragm to allow for the breath to go straight through the body. We want to allow for the flow of the breath, of light, of energy to go straight through the body with ease. You don't want to be crumpled up. You want to feel it. You can close your eyes, assist you in focusing. And imagine on the top of your head a stream of white light that is pouring through the top of your head as you inhale. And that light is going through your body, down to your toes. And as you exhale, it goes out your feet into the earth. And imagine that light going into the earth, under your feet, and going through the whole of the earth, doing a whole circumvented circle around the whole of the earth. And then coming back again to the top of your head, through the body, out your feet, into the earth. And this white light is coming in with love, cleansing, and healing. And feel it as it goes through your body, and each of your 100 trillion cells is being tickled delightfully, lovingly, calmly, relaxed, happily by this light. And out into the earth is this same beautiful light going and tickling all of the cells of the earth and all of her inhabitants. And as this light, as we are inhaling and exhaling, is streaming through us and touching all of our cute little cells and all that is, ever was, or will be, it is cleansing and healing. It is embracing our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, our negatively based emotions in love. And so all that angries, all that worries are being transcended into love, into the grace and beauty of love. And again, the white light is streaming through, it's cleansing, and as many times as is necessary for you to start to feel a shift, to feel a heaviness lifting, a sluggishness dissipating, and a light emanating. And the light also makes you feel lighter. Feel light like a bird, like a feather, able to fly in the sky. And you start to allow yourself to feel the power of the light that is you, that is connected to all that is, ever was, or will be. Inhaling and exhaling. This growing feeling of enlightenment, this growing feeling of empowerment as we inhale and exhale and accept just how powerful we are. Inhale and exhale. Accept that we have chosen to manifest based in fear for many, many a year. And we are now choosing in conscious awareness to heal, cleanse, and transcend that fear into love, and to be a co-creative collaborator of love consciousness. And inhaling and exhaling. And inhale and exhale. Knowing that when we are choosing to be a consciously co-creating collaborator of love, that which we experience in our lives will be that which will make us feel even more love, greater bliss, exponentially expanding happiness. Inhale and exhale. You need not worry about the details of that which you are seeking to manifest in your life. Inhale the love, exhale gratitude. For when you are being love, you are guaranteed that which you are experiencing in your life will make you happy. You will be happy. You are happiness manifest. And inhale. I am love. Exhale. I am gratitude. Inhale. I am bliss. Exhale. I am bliss manifest. Inhale. I am love. Exhale. I am loving. Spending, whether it be 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours a day, realigning self with fear, out of fear and into love, realigning self into love consciousness, 2 minutes, 20 minutes, or 2 hours is worth more than you can do working 2 weeks trying to achieve what you are seeking to achieve in your life in physical activities. 2 minutes of aligning self in love will exponentially affect your life to a greater degree than 2 weeks of physical hard labor. And I think we can all find 2 minutes in our day to choose to think of ourselves as a being of love's light. Remembering that what we think is where it all begins. The thoughts that we choose to focus on affect how we feel about ourselves, affect what we are allowing to come through us, what other supporting thoughts are going to come through, and what motivating actions will result as a cause of that. Take your place as the empowered being that you are. We are all creators. We are all empowered beings. And one day very soon, we'll simply say that that's me. That's we. That's just how it is. I look forward to hearing from all of you, sharing in your experiences as you shift, as we all shift, from fear-based consciousness to love-based consciousness. And I send forth blessings of love's light, that this shift be one of comfort, ease, and joy, manifesting in exponentially expanding bliss, each and every one of our highest, authentic happiness. enLIGHTen. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I look forward to seeing you soon. Blessedly be.